Yes, sir. You underestimate my sneakiness. Oh, okay. That's right. We are live. I'm sorry, everybody, for running a little bit late. I had to push the show a little later too. I went out to an engagement. As you can see, I'm rocking the Chiefs gear tonight. Um, and for those who are familiar with football, know some of the Chiefs players. I got an autograph from Trent McDuffie, Chiefs starting cornerback. Ooh, shoot! Oh, I almost messed up. Almost. See, Rockfin is so easy to mess up and
Why
tape
would you
over
do?
the stream. It's easy to tape over the stream that you just did.
Uh,
What the hell is going on with this?
that's crazy. But
Yeah,
what's up,
if you
everybody?
let's see. Yeah, I guess here, give me a minute while I try to get this Rockfin. Try to get Rockfin live.
Yeah, it's all good. What's up, everybody in the chat? Thanks y'all for joining. It's about 10:15 Saturday. On the East Coast, about 7:15 if you're on the West Coast. All times in between. Thank y'all for joining us. Um, that's a good question, Nina. Why we're not on Rumble? I don't know. I guess we'll have to ask. We'll have to ask Mr. Morpheus why we're not on Rumble. Um, but other than that, I hope everybody had a good Saturday up to this point. Here in South Florida, it rained most of the day. I mean, it was pretty nice up until 11, 12 a.m. 12 p.m. Then it started raining. So, that kind of kept a lot of people off the roads and in the house today. We got a couple of topics to cover today, stuff that's just been popping up. I don't think anything too major. You guys are always plugged in and tapped in, so you guys already know what's going down. Hamza, what's going on? They took your man, Dr. Boyce, off of Instagram? I didn't know that. Huh. Interesting. But Instagram and Facebook, that's where the soft people go. You know what I'm saying? That's where they go to get their reinforcement for shit that they already believe and think and feel. Twitter is where you would go to challenge yourself probably just a little bit, or to quicker find an opposing viewpoint on an issue. And I don't have a Facebook account. I never have, but I know from the people I do know with them, it pretty much just seems like one big liberal echo chamber for the most part.
Yeah. Excuse me. Let me turn the mic a little bit closer. Guess a little bit of yelling earlier today. Voice is kind of a little shaky. But shout out, I see Miguel there, Jared Brown. Um, more like threat.
Oh, can
I see
everybody?
Warren in the building. Baba, what's up? Hamza's back tonight. Nina, sorry about the delays.
There's some
Okay.
fights tonight. I think we only got Hamza for a little bit, but everybody, do I sound okay? Because I did a live 2 nights ago, and they said my audio was kind of messed up. So if you can hear me fine or clearly, please just let me know. I
Chris, this is
appreciate
for you.
it. Of course, we love it. We love it, Hamza. There's nothing better. Is that what it is? Oh yeah. Well, I guess the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse Lee Peters is still July, man. It's IG and Face. Oh, sorry, getting caught up on this stuff. IG and Facebook took down Dr. Boyce White. I wonder why. I mean, I would think that there's other people who are a lot more aggressive that they probably could go after before Dr. Boyce.
Thomas is funny.
Let's see. What's up, Tammy?
Thomas,
Yeah.
what's up, man? Warren, what's good, man?
Yeah, so I'm not even going to waste the time with the intro tonight. Not going to play with it because I've been having problems getting back and forth from that. Wow, I can't believe I'm actually losing my voice a little. Shit. I forgot to put stuff in. But tonight's topics, we got we're gonna get into the Jonathan Majors thing just a little bit. Anna Kasparian. We want to talk about. I want to talk about that just a little bit, and more or less, honestly, this is one of those topics which I grabbed it because I more want to hear Chris get upset. I'll just be honest. I'm gonna let Chris because I know he hasn't seen this commentary, and I just want to let him let loose. I know he had to be on his best behavior the other day when he went on Lucky Burrito's show. For those who missed it, Chris did an amazing job over there. So y'all check that out. We're gonna talk about that too. Yes, they are sending more weapons to Ukraine. I want to talk about that just a little bit. And then you got the Twitter versus Threads, which we'll get. I wanted to talk about that because I want to get into the analysis of what I think it's going to lead to. See, John is in the building, so says, why is Pasta promoting Bobby Kennedy? Oh, I can tell you easily. Any of the people who were really upset about the whole COVID narrative and how that stuff was pushed, they go to JFK a lot of times. I mean RFK Jr. because he was one of the strongest advocates for being against, So
And he seems safe because he's a Democrat voter. Maybe on some issues he's all right. But again, I don't endorse any of these people. In fact, I feel that instead of an endorsement, we should be like ridiculing them or something along those lines because they're just trying to get up. They're trying to get everyone to remain within the confines of the Democratic Party, even if you are upset with them.
Yeah, I think but a lot of the RFK people, I think it's solely that one issue. I don't even think they think much past the rest of the issues. I mean, probably that and his stance on Ukraine is more nuanced than a lot of other people. I see Chris H is in the building. Streets is in the building promoting. I talk with Pasta, and it's about him being the only one saying things no one else will say. Exactly. It's talking about that one specific topic for the most part. And my thing is, I agree with most of these people on that topic, talking about the plague, but I mean, at this point, it's not a concern to me that much. I'm more worried about what's going to be the next thing. I don't like to spend a lot of time dwelling on political topics that are kind of a little behind us.
And Marcus, for at least for me personally, I'm sure on a certain level for you too, when you and I were, talking about this shit in 2021, people didn't want to have these conversations and we were getting strikes and episodes removed. A lot of these a lot of these independent people on the left, nobody wanted to fuck with us or even entertain some of the things we were saying, because a lot of that was also being said on the right wing. So they were doing their best, as usual, to bend over backwards, to not be tied or not to be tagged as, quote, right wing. So they stayed away from it. Now here we are 2 years later. They want to have discussions and talks. Y'all are so fucking late. It's so late. I don't even care.
Which I wouldn't say Pasta falls into that, but a lot of these people who are on the RFK bandwagon. Plus, you got a lot of. Yeah. I would say RFK. Most of the people who are pushing for RFK would be closer to libertarians than anything. That's what I would say. That's the crowd. I think he has the anti-COVID lockdown, the anti-jab crowd for the most part. But my issue is some of his talk on Israel. That right there is a problem for me. That's a big problem for me.
Of course. look what happens. The playbook went the same with Kennedy, right? He came out, he said something critical of Israel, which was also true because that usually happens, right? Um, after you say something, then the lobby comes at you. It comes at you, behind the scenes and in front of the camera. And then, sure enough, you have to now then trip over yourself to make it seem as if you've been Israel's bosom buddy from the
Mm-hmm.
inception, from the time you were a
Mm-hmm.
sperm. You've been supporting Israel. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's where he did. And again, if look, he already told you what it is, man. You know, there's nothing else to look at when it comes to RFK. Again, like I also said the other day, people are supporting candidates, not movements. If you put RFK in there and you leave him with the same Democratic Party, I don't care what his ideas are. That
Mm-hmm.
Congress is not going to do anything.
Yep. That's the same reason why. That's the same issue I have with any of these candidates. Let's say you get your preferred candidate, whether it's a RFK, whether it is the people from Marianne Williamson, whether it's Cornel West. Um, Regardless of who gets in there, nothing is going to change the minutia of the way things are going. And I know a lot of people on the right wouldn't necessarily agree with this, but I honestly feel it's the same thing if you get Trump in there. Um, I
Facts.
don't think
Look,
much is going to change.
Marcus, Trump is going to save them from deep state, right? Trump is
Of
going to
course.
expose. He's going to expose all the pedophiles. He's going to expose all the human trafficking. He's going to take it to these big companies. Yet that same motherfucker brought you Operation Warp Speed, and then they want to tell us that he's playing, 10D chess. Those people are dumb as fuck too. And I just got to call it out. You know what I'm saying? They're still on it. Look, 2015, 2016, if you held those thoughts, whatever, I mean, I still would have looked at you like a weirdo, but you already had your fix. Yes, the media, the security state, everybody was working against Trump, or at least talking against Trump and, talking reckless about him. However,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't kill his ass. They didn't kill him, and he was able to serve out his term. So clearly, he was doing more of what they wanted than less.
And I wanted to respond to this because I see a little conversation going back and forth between Hamza and Yonina, and I wanted to hop in on that. Let's put it on the screen. She says RFK Jr. is still working for the same establishment that killed his brother, uncle, and cousin. I believe this is going to be very uh, fuck it, just say it. Um, I honestly believe that the establishment, they might have, some people within the establishment had a little bit to do with it, but I would go to bigger state actors than that. Some of the same people who had to do with 9/11 are the same types of people. It's the apparatus that is manipulating and pushing a lot of this stuff. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, um, you know, I don't know where you've been or if you're not following the show enough. You guys know what happened, and it start being an issue when JFK decided that he wanted to ask questions about if a certain country had a nuclear program. And if you look into all that history there, you will notice issues. Then, if you think about the fact that um, RFK was doing a lot of digging into the mob, a lot of people, when they think mob, they only think Italians. I advise go back and do some research, and you're going to start seeing there was more than Italians in the picture. And some of those people who were non Italians who were in that picture were tied to government agencies outside of the US. So when Hamza was like, "Yeah, do we really know the government killed his uncle?" I don't think either of the two necessarily did. Now, his cousin, I think his cousin, that was just arrogance and recklessness. unless there's some secret stuff that we don't really know going on. I know that they said that the flight conditions were terrible for him to go out flying. He decided to do it anyway. He was advised against it multiple times and took it upon himself to make that decision. Let's see. What do y'all think about the movie Sound of Freedom? I have never heard of it. What about you, Chris?
So it's a Mel Gibson movie
Oh,
that
that.
he's either produced. Yeah, where they're talking about human trafficking, specifically child trafficking. And it has the guy James Caviezel in it. I don't know how to say his name, but he was the
Yeah,
same
you're right.
actor he used with
Caviezel,
Passion.
Passions of the
Yeah, the
Christ,
same dude. Yeah. With that
and,
being said,
and Persons of Interest. If you guys are not familiar.
yeah, the movie actually seemed pretty good in terms of like raising awareness. I understand it's hard to sit through from all the reviews I saw. However, the movie must have hit a nerve with this, the liberal Hollywood crowd, because all of their publications, whether it's Rolling Stone, it's Billboard, it's who's the other one I saw? Washington Post.
Mm-hmm.
They're all writing. They all had their reviews killing the movie, just telling you it's not worth watching. It's whack. It's trash. It's hard.
Of course.
This will benefit pedophiles and all kind of shit like that. But if they are attacking it like this, then it's a little bit problematic for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I hate to put it this way, y'all, but even if he does make a movie and he brings awareness to it, is anything going to stop?
No, nothing. They're unable to stop it, because as you can see, it's a billion. It's an industry. Unfortunately, we have to call it an industry, but it is an industry that makes untold billions of dollars every year. In addition to the money it makes, it also gives you leverage against the power players who engage in this type of behavior and who live this type of lifestyle, right? So Marcus, if I see that you have this proclivity towards, young girls, and I know this is what you like to do, and you're influential, I'll just set it up, record you, make sure I get my blackmail, and then go about my business. So no, Hamza, Hollywood doesn't care about it, which is why Hollywood is shitting. Which is why the majority of Hollywood is shitting all over the movie. That's crazy though that you had that experience, Baba.
Yeah, that's terrible. That is terrible. And Chris H, I want to respond to this one here because I just want kind of people to understand like my stance. I realize like the video which I laid it out on. I talked with Chris about this earlier in the week. Because I've been talking to a couple of different people and kind of hearing different perspectives on stuff, and I just like to lay out my perspective over and over and over. I guess it goes through like a little PTSD I had as a kid, feeling like people never understood exactly what I was saying. So I like to try to always be as crystal clear as possible. Chris H says, I think RFK Jr. is the best choice America has. Either him or Trump. Trump may be the best choice. RFK Jr. knows how the monster works, but y'all are right. It's the Democratic Party. Well, here's the thing. The Democratic Party doesn't control anything. The Republican Party doesn't control anything in actuality. This country is not a republic. It's not a democracy. It's a plutocracy, for one. For two, it is still controlled in a sense of feudalism. All they do is switch out the means of how they use this control. When you really start digging into the money ties of all of these different people who are really sitting at the top, every one of these politicians who put laws into place, the people who are on their staff work for different corporations, and there's the ones who are putting it. These senators and congressmen, most of these are basically just the face of whatever plan that the corporate interest in this in this country want to put through. And when you think about these corporate interests, it's really boiled down to the board of directors most of the time. And the board of directors and the stockholders, the majority stockholders, are typically a handful of small people. And so when you really look at it, it is still a handful of people who are controlling the gears of our government, the economic system, agricultural, shipping department, military industrial complex, and they are pushing all of these policies worldwide in different instances. So it's still, when it comes down to it, it's only a handful of people who are still controlling all of this. So it doesn't matter if Trump gets in there. It doesn't matter if RFK gets in there. Any of these people are able to do, once you get over a certain level, is marginal change. Maybe you go get some books yanked out of a classroom that you don't like. Maybe you can, I'm telling you, there's not much any of these people are doing, especially the higher up they get. The higher up they get, the more likely they are bought and paid for. I remember years back when they used to get, they would mess up and the bills would still have the name Alec on them. I don't know if y'all know what Alec is, but Alec was basically, it was a conglomerate of a bunch of major corporations.
American Legislative Exchange Council.
Exactly. And so all of these corporations, whether we're talking about ExxonMobil, Shell, AT&T, McDonald's, various pharmaceutical companies, all these people would get together, their lawyers, and craft this legislation, which is in the favor of the corporations. And then they buy their politician to go out there and be their mouthpiece. That's the reason why you never hear us making a big deal about Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. None of that matters. Because especially when you follow the money.
Whether you fly the flag for the Democrats, whether you fly the flag for the Republicans, any legislature that you offer is authored by Alec. They do your job for you, essentially.
Yep.
And then you run around and pretend that you're the author of this legislation, but you're really not. And Alec really is the legislative arm of the business community in the United States. They have all their attorneys. They know how it works in each state. They know what they need to do and who they need to control. And, that's what it is with them.
Yeah, Chris said Alec equals Koch brothers. It's more than just Koch brothers. They're just part of it. I mean, like I'll give you a stat. A lot of people don't know some of these numbers.
Oh, all right, Hamza. That's what's up. We'll talk to him, Hamza. Forget Marcus.
Chris, by the way. Oh, that's what's up. I will definitely do that. But shoot, what was I gonna say? I lost train of thought. Oh, give you a perfect example. How many people realize that the weapons in this country for all of the wars up until Vietnam, either it stopped at Vietnam or Vietnam was the last one they did it for, all of those weapons were made by one company, DuPont. I know people know them for all kind of other stuff, chemicals and this and that, because DuPont is also tied in with Dow Chemicals. One company was doing all of it. So that made only a handful of people extremely wealthy. When you go into most of the tobacco products in this country, it's literally made by one family. The Reynolds family makes like 80% of all the tobacco in this country, all the tobacco products. Now, they also have delved into, I think the stat I heard was somewhere around 40% of the medical marijuana in this country is through the Reynolds family also. when you start looking into the sheer numbers, which a handful of families and corporations hold monopolies on certain stuff, you start seeing all they're doing is using a shell game. They give it's kind of like if Chris is the boss, Chris gives me some money, and then I go and spread it out to the underlings below me, but none of them ever meet Chris. They never know that Chris is the one who's necessarily paying for all this stuff. And that's the same thing when you start looking into BlackRock, and then you'll notice, oh, well, the shareholders, who owns BlackRock? Well, some of it is Vanguard, some of it is Berkshire Hathaway, and then you're like, well, who owns that? And you're in this circular loop because they list each other as the owners. And all they do is they put whoever they decide to be as their front man. Now, I'm not saying that front man does not have a lot of power and wealth within themselves, but they are still reporting to somebody higher than them. Let's see. Extra Bullet says, I want to know why Chris keeps ignoring the brother behind him who's just chilling.
Because he's working, Marcus. You know, he's plugged in. He's telling me shit that I need to know.
Yeah, he got to keep the show running for us.
I know, right?
He's up there. He's deleting people who hate us, who are calling us all kind of evil names. He's plugging us into new systems as they try to shut us down. I mean, he's a busy man. Let's see.
Yeah, Streets. I was on Lucky Burrito's show on Thursday, so it was cool. We had a good time.
Yeah. Oh, perfect right there. Thomas talked about how BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street hold the assets of America's top oligarchy, which is worth trillions, and they finance America's billionaires such as Musk and Gates. Exactly. They can drop him from being a billionaire instantly, just like you saw that happen with Kanye. You saw what happened with Kanye. Kanye started running his mouth and talking a little crazy. And the thing about it is, I don't even think that he really pissed them off that much. He just went a little bit out of the parameters, which I honestly feel like not only did they not care that much, I think that they kind of set him up to go out there and kind of make a fool of himself for a reason, because it served as a purpose. So it's dual purpose. I'm going to send him out there to do that. Then I'm going to penalize his ass once he does it too. It's interesting, but I'm just saying. Oh yeah, I put in a lot. Tell him, Chris, how long have I been going through all these money ties?
Oh yeah, long time.
We're talking about easily hardcore 3 years. Yeah, 3 years nonstop daily of researching who's being funded by who. Where is this stuff going? Where is this money coming from? Who's funding who? And I started seeing, I just kept seeing and kept coming back to the same conclusions over and over and over. So I won't speak 100% candidly on it right at the moment, but I started seeing the money ties were clear and obvious. I mean, I got to find this one broker. He was a top level banker at like one of these type of Swiss banks. And what he was telling people is that I was able to look at the transactions that were going on from this person to that person and be able to predict various different things that were going on. I could predict coups that were happening in countries. I can predict rings of human smuggling. I could predict terrorist attacks because I could see where the money was moving from and who was moving money. And I'm not talking about a couple of millionaires or even billionaires. I'm talking about the people who are actual trillionaires. See, people don't talk about the real, because here's the thing. Just recently, they've come out, maybe a couple of years back, and they started admitting, oh, well, Saudi Arabia and UAE, some of those kings are literally worth trillions of dollars. Okay, so let's do a logical thought experiment. If these people are worth trillions of dollars, yet they're still beholden to Western powers and are not more powerful, then obviously these Western powers are sitting on even more money than that. And I don't think people connect that. You got to remember, somebody actually owns the Federal Reserve. Somebody actually owns the Bank of London. Somebody actually owns these major Swiss banks. You just never get to know who they are. See, Atras is in the building. What's up, brother?
Trez, what's up, man? Yeah,
exactly.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, yeah.
I definitely do, Yipper. Man, I had so many different notebooks where I'm writing down this person's name and that person's name, and then I started looking into some of these people's like marriage certificates and who their name was before they got married, and this person got adopted by that person, and start finding out how many of these powerful people are blood relatives, and it gets deep when you really start digging into it. It's super deep.
And just the connections for the people who appear on our television is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's they're all connected. You know, like Mika Brzezinski is one of my favorite ones, right? Her father was, advisor to Jimmy Carter, and we can go
Mm-hmm.
down the line. We can go down the line and pinpoint all of these people with all of these ties to these families and or organizations. Then you don't have to get upset about what you don't hear from these people on these networks. They're there to be able to run interference for their own. They're there to
Yeah.
steer the conversation from one direction to another, because if they were speaking, freely, or they allowed people like us onto these programs, maybe some of their families would be, at least in danger. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
they have to put their friends and family members on the TV.
Yep. I was seeing Gene Whitworth popped in on the Rockin' side, says Jill Stein seems very receptive to the idea of being Cornell's running mate. That would be a solid ticket, I think. Well, the problem with that is, from what I'm hearing from some people, this is all kind of a little grift going on. And I'm gonna probably try to talk to Camilla and see if I can get her on, and she can go into some receipts on some of the stuff going on between like Nick Brenna and Cornell West and the whole like MPP Green Party kind of. Make sure y'all just watch out for that. That's gonna come. I'm gonna have her break down some of those ties because I like to show my homework, and I mean, one of these days I'm gonna have to like lay this out and show you guys some of the stuff that I have, but it's extensive. It's extensive, and it's not just a corruption through corporations. That's what people don't realize. It's not just the corporations. It's into the entertainment industry. It's into the pharmaceuticals. It's into agriculture. It's into major religious entities. Like when you start looking in through different kind of secret societies like the Knights Templar, and start looking at the Eastern Order, and uh, of course you have the Masonic industries, and it's just so many levels. And you got to realize, if you had the ability, or let's just say your family and a couple of families had the ability to manipulate and control major things for, let's say, what, easily over 300 years, you have a lot of power to have massive control in a lot of areas. I would even wager that you could probably go back even further than that for some of the people involved. And the only thing that's happened, in my opinion, is that the people who have been at the top of this whole kind of thing have switched over the last probably 300 years. The families have switched over the last 300 years. But the same kind of dynamic of some of the different people who have been involved, the people who were involved before, the people who were at the very, very top, I believe that they go back and they were kind of underlings at a certain point, and then they became the hegemony. But this whole order and stuff, how this has been going, I say you can track back possibly even, I want to say close to back to the Renaissance period. This has been going on a very, very long time. Let's see.
Oh, you already know, man. Um, yeah, you already know. I mean, I want to comment on, it's not necessarily something that we had, in our topics, but I see mention of Cornell West, in the chat. And, again, Cornell, I'm not going to shit on him. He's said a lot of good things over the course of his career. I truly believe that he means well. I truly believe that he wants all of like the best for all of us. But again, he's more effective not running for president. He's more effective outside of electoral politics. To put himself into electoral politics, he's going to have to. Let's put it this way: he's not going to run without attracting more people. So if he has to attract more people, he's probably going to have to he's going to have to shed some of the initial supporters he has. And that just leads to implosion and going nowhere fast. So I think it was a bad move for Cornell to actually put his hat in the race to run. Again, he was much more effective lobbying criticisms at the establishment because, as I said before, these people are backing candidates and individuals. These are not movements. So even again, like I said before, even if you get Cornel West in as your president, if you're giving him Congress to deal with that is comprised of AOC, Jamal Bowman, fucking that old chick in California, Maxine Waters, Feinstein.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Feinstein. Yeah, Feinstein. And then and Pelosi still ain't gone nowhere.
That's what I'm saying. Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the other guy in West Virginia, and Doug. That's not a team that's about to
Joe
just
Manchin.
Go ahead and Joe Manchin. Yeah, that's not a movement. You understand what I'm saying? It's not a movement, whatever. And I know that people say, well, it's good to have Cornel West there because he raises awareness. Yo, it's 2023. If you need Cornel West to raise awareness for you in 2023, what the fuck you been doing these last several years? You understand what I'm saying? Because Cornel is another one. He's an older gentleman. He should be, in the back advising. He doesn't necessarily need to be on Front Street as the point person. But just to show there's no fucking movement, that he got to jump out there and, probably he probably gonna end up damaging his own reputation when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, is he? I don't know. I watched a pretty good video the other day, going in depth on the Boule class. For those who are not familiar with the Boule or the Divine Nine, I'm gonna do it. We're gonna have to. Maybe we'll cover it next week. I'm just telling you, it's gonna break some hearts out there. It's definitely gonna break some hearts.
The Divine Nine, for those who don't know, are like the Divine Nine. What are they? Sororities and fraternities, right?
Here, I'll put it on the screen so people will know what the Divine Nine is. Dang, if my computer doesn't keep freezing up on me.
Yeah, the Divine Nine has to do with sororities and fraternities, and just those are all Masonic organizations.
Well, the Black Greek, the major Black Greek organization,
sororities and fraternities, correct.
Which a lot of them,
folks,
yeah. Oh, sorry.
When the Masons started, they clearly didn't want black folks. So, black folks, created their own shit and they were brought into the fold a little bit. And, it was just a form of control. I swear, unfortunately, our ancestors wrongly believed in all this integration shit. And I don't mean integration in terms of like, you can't live across the street from a white person. I mean, just integrating into their schools, into their workplaces, and all this other shit. Because all they did was make niggas have to be very subservient, very silent, and just very docile. and they're always begging, "Give me more. We need more money." No, I don't know. We'll lay you off. You
Well,
know,
my
had
my,
they
oh, I was gonna
I'm just saying
say,
they needed to focus on, they need to focus at the time, they needed to focus on building their own institutions and shit like that. So 40, 50, 60 years later, your ancestors are not on television crying about not being able to get into fucking Yale or Duke or any of those or any of these fucking Ivy League schools that have you go on to like do the opposite what you're supposed to do.
I would say what I would say on that is like it was more that there's nothing wrong with some level of inclusion, but what happened is these people have become the gatekeepers of the black community. Ooh, hold on a second. Excuse me. But these people become more, thank you. They become the gatekeepers of the black community. And what has happened is instead of it being a trajectory for some people in the black community to raise up and possibly build ladders for more of the people, what it's done is they became a control for the dominant society. Excuse me. Woo. They become more of a control to kind of keep a lot of the black community stuck where they are, always taking half measures, always, kind of taking the deals that work for themselves and not what would help for the entire community. And so that led into different policies that were not good for the black community that were pushed in through basically traitors to the black community. And so, since
Well,
Marcus, there's a delay on your.
it also added some level of legitimacy to the system and to the institutions, right? Because you have black people going there, so more black people who come along after them will buy into the system. They won't reject the system. They won't think about overturning the system. They'll just figure out ways to get in the system and take advantage of it. And it is what it is, but it hasn't overall. It hasn't had the benefits that they thought. That's why for me, I wasn't crying about affirmative action, just like I wasn't crying about these Republicans and these conservatives trying to do away with certain Black history and these or certain Black history programs, et cetera, et cetera. Let's keep it real. They're not even honest with the way that they discuss the history, the way they teach the history. So it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? You stop getting emotional over the system. It is what it is. What did Thomas say? Chris is making me glad my native communities have their own little establishment. Oh, absolutely, Thomas. I mean, you have to keep your little, you got to keep your own little circles. You know what I mean? Because look, every time they bring somebody in, they look stupid. Let's look at the Indian community in the United States, right? Um, they want to be most of them are they want to be with the white man too. Just look at that. What's that guy's name running on the Republican side? What's his name? Vivek Rama, whatever his name is, bro. I don't know.
Or as Amazing Lucas says, Vivek Baba Booey.
Whatever his bitch ass name is, because let me tell you, I listen to him. That's a straight white dude from 1950 or from 1960. You understand what I'm saying? And he talks this,
Yep.
I'm not hard on immigrants like this. I am the child of immigrants. So whenever I say some shit, leave me alone. But he's one of them ones that make me say, okay, you're so much better. Because, they always got like shit to say about black folks too. That's the other reason why I got smoked for them. Why you don't go back to Mumbai and get it popping, dog? Why you don't fix your country? Y'all dudes there in India, y'all have a what is it? Y'all got a rape problem. Y'all like raping girls and women on buses. Go back to your country and get that shit in order before you sit here and start talking
They don't.
about
They
black.
have. You got to
Other shit.
remember the people like Vivek. his parents are not just some factory workers who came over here for a better life. These are people who are
Correct.
already at the top of society. These are people who were always big on their proximity to whiteness. Well, you say Indians are really racist. Well, here's the thing: a lot of the immigrants, especially, and it doesn't matter if you even talk about out of Africa, a lot of the immigrants who were brought into this country, when they're being filtered through the processes, they look for ones who have basically anti-black sentiment. That is a plus to coming into the country, and
Yo,
you can tell by the questions which are asked on the different surveys.
correct. And the same goes for the fucking Chinese people and the Koreans and any other Asian group out here who was, again, like I said, for the affirmative action thing, I'm not upset about it. But what I'm looking at the comments from these Asian motherfuckers, talking about how they're being passed over. So go back to your country and get it popping. Y'all been here how many generations now? Go back home. Haven't you amassed
But
enough money?
Chris, they're never. You got to remember, these are the same people that don't even like their own people a lot of times. These are the same
I know.
people who they're never going to go. They don't. A lot of these people are never have any intentions of being around, other Indians or other Chinese or whatever. They want to come for the American dream and their proximity to whiteness, as somebody said in there.
Correct.
So they're never going to do that.
It's not lost on me at all that they stay in their lane. They're very quiet up until it comes time to say something about black folks. Then they have a lot of shit to say about black people. So this is why I take the position that I take and why I say the shit that I say sometimes, because it's like, I see you people. I hear
Well,
you.
I just want to make sure that we're also giving a little bit of nuance, that we're not like, yo, all 100% of y'all, F y'all. I'm not.
Oh,
I don't want to put out
No.
that I want to make sure that we are giving that disclaimer that we're not talking to every single one. We're talking to
Correct.
one.
It's the one.
If y'all feel a certain kind of way about us, we got that same energy right back at you.
That's what I'm saying. And go back and invest in your country wherever it was and stay there. Raise your children there. Don't come here and have kids and then try to go back. Stay where the fuck you are and fix your place.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
Marcus,
But let's get into. I want to lighten it up a little bit. Let's just lighten it up. It says, Marcus and Chris, what do y'all think about the Pan-Africanists who want to create their own banks, corporate networks, generational wealth, and self-sufficient communities? Is that possible in the U.S.? Me, first off, I do have a affinity for, most of the melanated. I'll say BIPOC. And when we're talking about BIPOC, that's normally talking about Black, Latinos, Native Americans. That's kind of what. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, person of color," and they think that that's throwing in a lot of these different Asian demographics. There are Asian allies out there, cool. But for the most part, y'all energy as a community has not been good for us. And even some of the ones who act cool, y'all spend a lot of time extracting money out of our community while throwing a lot of disrespect or not policing your own community. And so therefore, nice shake your hand, fist bump, but we want to build over here with black and brown and see where we can go from there. Now, Pan-Africanists, I got a little bit of an issue with Pan-Africanism because there's a lot of people over in Africa, Africans, who have very anti-African American and when I'm saying African American, I'm throwing in Caribbean American and all that too, and Afro Latinos. They got a very, very anti feeling for us over here who across the water. So I'm not willing to just rush over there and lock arms. Also, keeping in mind, y'all ancestors are the ones who put us into this predicament. So therefore, I'm not in a rush to just, point the fingers over here and ignore you possibly stabbing us in the back again. So I would focus on us in the Americas throughout the diaspora. I could rock with, Black British people, you know, or Black Europeans. But African continent, my eye is on you just as much as some of these other communities because I've gotten negative sentiment from a lot of them. Now, do I think it's possible to do it? When I look at the state of the Black community right now, when we got a whole community that thinks stuff like Throat Baby and Pound Town is that's a good thing. That I mean,
Town.
Yeah, when that's what we got going on here, and then you got one group that they Pan African, you know, that's it. Then you got the other group who are like, no, I'm Afro Latino. I'm not messing with none of y'all. Then you got the group in here is like, you know, Black Americans only. That's all I care about. If your mama is white and your daddy is Black, I don't want to mess with you because you got so many different divisions going on, and I don't see how that community would even meld itself together or even figure out how it would meld itself together. Then you got the people who are like, I ain't got nothing to do with Africa at all. I'm an Aboriginal America. This is my country. So when you got that stuff going on and people talking about portals in the Grand Canyon, I don't know how we do any of that stuff.
Did you see Tammy's question?
Oh Lord, she don't know about Pound Town. Oh my goodness, yeah.
It's something. It's a lot of ignorant shit, you know. Pound Town. Look. Just I would say Google it. I would say Google it, but then you might have to be careful with your search on that one. It's a stupid song by this new artist, Sexy Red.
Her name is Sexy Red, yeah.
And the song is just really, really ignorant as hell.
I'm like, it took Black Americans back like 4 or 5 steps. Just this one song alone.
Yeah, it is a song. It's a song, Tammy, but it also means something else too. Pound Town. I mean, you know, I don't know if the audience is, but you know, Pound Town is, you know,
my nigga take a bitch down. My brown. When I heard that, I was like, no, I'm done.
I told you. Is it worse than anything Foxy or Lil Kim?
But we still got Throw Baby out there too. So, I mean, come on.
Tammy, I don't know if it's worse because it's just so stupid. And, you know, oh, God. Just look it up by Sexy Red. It's the dumbest shit you've ever seen.
Foxy Brown and Lil Kim in the 90s is PG-13 compared to this stuff now. Oh,
correct.
Hey, y'all, I know you remember. I know you remember that old Trina song. You don't know now with Trick Daddy.
You know, man, nigga. That's my shit. Come on, man.
Man, remember what she said? Who fuck about 5 or 6 best friends? She literally talking about run the train on me. So that's like the grandmother of this generation now. That kind of stuff. So no, I don't. I mean, and then you got the people who like, as soon as they get a little bit of paper or start coming up, they're like, I'm a respectable Black. I don't want to be around you filthy Negroes over there.
Know what? You know what, Marcus? Speaking of Pound Town, Jonathan Majors was taking that white girl to Pound Town, and she lost her shit, and she did a bunch of foul shit to him, and now it's looking like the tables have turned on her ass. You seen that whole shit play out?
But for those who don't know it, let's explain out the whole, because I guess we're going to go into Jonathan Majors. Let's explain out the Jonathan Majors scenario. I'll try to give y'all a little background on it. Basically, a couple of months back, He got accused of assaulting his girlfriend. She had broken finger and laceration on her ear. Police showed up. They took him in instantly. Um, but what started coming out later on, and like right after, like the next day, and this is weird that this never came out. The very next day, she's like, "Don't press charges. Nothing really happened. I mean, this is all getting mixed around." Well, the driver, he actually saw the driver who was sitting there the whole time. He's like, no, he was very respectful. He kept his tone low. He was not trying to cause no problems with her. She was yelling and erratic. He hops out of the car, and the video shows this, that she yanks him back into the car. Now yanks him and well, it was like some kind of luxury chauffeur and surface, something like that. And I mean, he was taking like selfies with fans, and she ripped his jacket and everything. They end up kind of going their separate ways. She goes home, plans, and she goes out. You can see her at the nightclub, walking around perfectly fine. She gets super drunk, tells him that she's gonna off herself. Then she wakes up in the hotel room. Yeah.
Marcus, let me just add, she was at the club after the assault, right? After he supposedly assaulted her. But go ahead, you were saying that she went back to the apartment.
Yeah, this is hours after this whole argument and stuff allegedly happened. And you see her walking the camera, she's grabbing stuff, no problem, hands are perfectly fine. She says she's gonna basically, self-delete. Sends him all these messages. He kind of blows her off. Then when she wakes up after partying and stuff like that, she's found in the closet, like extremely intoxicated, and now she has a laceration on her ear and her finger. Well, now that they've kind of established that he wasn't in the vicinity of her, and last time that he's on camera with her, she's perfectly fine when she asserted that this alleged assault happened. And so her credibility is kind of dusted right there. Well, now you have all of these news agencies trying to paint a picture that, oh no, he has rage issues and he's abusive and all of this nonsense that's been going around. And so now you have the media basically trying to run a hit job on him. He was so that's the overall skill. I'm done, Chris.
Am I on? Marcus, you seem like you froze. Oh, okay.
Yeah, froze.
The major story is just like everything else. When these stories first hit, everyone wants to be the first to comment on it. Everyone wants to be the first to retweet this, et cetera, et cetera. And then everyone casts their judgments. Everyone makes their comments. Everyone turns into a scholar on relationships and Black men and white women and the like, right? You name it, everyone becomes an expert on it, instead of just waiting for the goddamn facts to come out. And I know we're all guilty of it too. So, I'm not too much casting judgment on people, but sometimes, especially as it relates to Hollyweird, you got to chill. Because look, they had everybody ready to kill Jonathan Majors, end his career. Don't even let him work as the gas attendant in Philly, only to find out that the girl was lying. She was found with pills she was found with pills in her bed when Jonathan Majors and the police went there the next morning to go on check on her. Because what did she say or make a threat to or allude to in the text message to Jonathan Majors? Oh, I get it. Suicide. She was going to commit suicide. So, people use these things, suicide. You know what I mean?
I was trying to be careful with that word because Twitter's been, I mean, not Twitter, but YouTube has been like really kind of careful on they've been trying to catch people up on saying certain words.
Yeah, but she put that in the text message, right? This is not conjecture or an opinion. This
No, it
is,
was
what
what she actually said. Yeah. Well, like for
she
instance,
text.
you haven't noticed the people who've been saying, "Oh, he raped her." They're because now YouTube don't want you to be able to use that word. So if you say that and
Hmm.
stuff, they're in the same and TikTok also.
Yo, or they want you to say that stupid word unalive yourself. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
That's
Stop.
why everybody's saying that because the algorithm censors you if you don't.
Yeah, but she mentioned that word. She mentioned that the suicide word, and he went over there to check on her. She was passed out. That's where they saw. That's whenever they saw that she was injured. And according to the reports, even the police when they got to the apartment, they were kind of stunned that New York City apartment could belong to a black guy. They didn't know who Jonathan Majors was. They
Mhm.
weren't fully aware that he was as famous or as rich as he is. So, they were just kind of like, you really live here, dog? Like this your shit? Like word? How you get this? Who owns this? This hers? A lot of that dumb shit. So they played up on this story from the black and white issue, man versus woman issue. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the chick made allegations that were not fucking true. She went to the club and was partying her ass off, hanging out. You know what I'm saying? While at the same time, the black dude is looking a certain way. Obviously, I'm not saying all white women, all black men, none of that shit. But just for that particular situation, Shorty got to take this L and hold all the criticisms. You know what I'm saying? She's trash for that.
You got to take that
You know,
L like Kiki Palmer's boyfriend.
now hold on. Now look though, she did all that, and he running around with Megan Good. So you know what?
Hey,
I'm a,
to me, that's definitely an upgrade in my book. I
that's what I'm
mean,
yo. That's what I'm saying.
I'm like,
Sometimes
if you could have pulled Megan Good, why was you even wasting your time with that Dusty broad?
that's what I'm saying. Sometimes these things happen. You're with people, and you think that you're supposed to be together, etc. These things happen. You split, and then next thing you know, you find yourself in the midst of somebody who is of much higher quality. You know what I mean? Not just on the physical level, just overall. So sometimes you go through these
Overall.
things, and it's a blessing. And sometimes it's just a blessing in disguise because once it's over with, and you're able to look back, and you look back at it, and you're like, damn, was I the one on drugs? But when you're past it, you're free of it. You're like, oh, shit is so much better over here. You know what I
If y'all
mean?
don't know, I always had a thing for Megan Good, so I'm like, yeah. Now you're doing right, young man.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
like Megan Good too, though. That's why I was clapping for him. She all right.
Yes. I mean, well, and a lot of people don't realize his background. Y'all know that old boy got a master's from Yale, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He is Ivy League educated. This ain't just like me or Chris, where we got some rough edges, and it's possible we could have been young and done some stuff kind of dumb. But no, this is not like they're they're trying to make this dude out to being something that he's definitely not. Because if all the stuff that these people were saying about him was true, why is it just coming out now? He's been in all these different things, and now you're saying 10 years after the fact, now he's doing all this stuff. I'm gonna really rarely follow through. However, what did that say? Put it back up.
Oh, um, Jordan Bemke says women rarely follow through though. However, if your homie says he's gonna 86 himself, check in on him real quick.
Quickness with the quick, because fellas don't
Mm-hmm.
tell they don't play like that. They don't
Because
normally
I don't
say
talk
that
like
stuff.
that. Correct. I don't say nothing like that. I don't. So if you ever hear me say Marcus on the call, like, yo, I'm just thinking about ending it. All right, that means I'm thinking about ending it. Other than that, nah, I don't
Mhm.
think about that shit at all.
Yep, John. This is a fact. This is why you hear people saying got great unalived. You hear them say YT people, raid to the cyst, all this stuff like that. A lot of this is coming from TikTok. How TikToks and from what I'm hearing, TikTok, if you can not think you did anything wrong, and it can sit up for months, and then all of a sudden they hit you with all these, complaints, and then start yanking videos down and penalizing you from a comment you made in somebody's video, 6 months ago. And then I see a lot of accounts. It's not uncommon for people on TikTok to get their accounts yanked down and suspended very easily over there. So since a lot of people are covering some of the stuff from TikTok on YouTube, they're just trying to be, I guess, careful with the term, or maybe we've gotten used to these terms. Yeah, so much for broadcast.
Oh,
It is not. Yeah.
I know, and
Uh-huh.
sticking with the social media mentions, this ties into another story we wanted to discuss this evening. We wanted to talk about the new threads on Instagram, and I want to ask you, along with the audience, have you guys started using threads on Instagram yet? I haven't. I've seen it a bunch of times. I don't think it's for me. The things that I would say or want to say are probably um, they probably don't fit with the meta worldview, so they wouldn't. I wouldn't be on there long. But Threads is basically Instagram's version of Twitter that they just rolled out, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So you can go check out Instagram. They have a new thing, Threads. I've heard some people like it, some people don't. I've seen a lot of suspensions for people trying to do and say some of the things they get away with on Twitter are not being accepted on the Threads. So the Threads really is going to be some pussy shit for liberals and Democrats. I'm sorry, and and for dudes who want to and dudes who use Instagram to find chicks, that'll probably be a good way for you to pick up some or more women on Instagram.
I disagree with that though, because I mean, Twitter's become like the number one fans only, advertisement site. Like they're all over the place. You don't even have
Yeah,
to
but I'm
click
saying,
on a video, and you get 15 fans only people following you.
oh yeah. As far as the OnlyFans shit, yeah, no, but I'm just talking about individual dudes like looking at these women's accounts because on Twitter you may not have any personal pictures up, right? On Instagram, there's a chance that you will have some personal pictures up. So when you get into the threads, the discussions, etc., it's going to lead a lot of people to jumping in each other's DMs. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
again,
I
it's
mean,
owned by.
I might check it out just because of the fact of um, I feel like what's going to end up happening with Threads is as you have more people who start to move over to move over there, you're going to have more of the ad money move over there, and you're going to have a lot of your bigger people who, like, especially in the sports world and entertainment world, are going to start fleeing the platform, Twitter, and then you're going to be left pretty much with a heavily more right wing kind of site. I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to have anybody who's left of center to establishment Democrats and people who are just into non-political stuff on one side, but who are going to get all their news from a definitely liberal lens to basically the most, it's going to be from the Tucker Carlsons all the way to the Matt Walsh's and Ben Shapiro. That's what's going to be Twitter's going to be full of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think Twitter's about to become very right. Well, I mean, you can already see it becoming, in my opinion, I already see it becoming more of a right wing platform,
see,
and not
I
right
would
wing as in libertarian. I'm talking about right wing as in a lot more kind of on the far right side.
here's the thing. I guess it all depends really on what your feed is like, right? Because I personally don't see too much hardcore right wing stuff on my Twitter feed because I guess based on what I follow and the things I like, etc. Probably based on the things that you look at, Marcus, that's probably why you see a lot more of that. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're gonna go to Threads, you're fucking with Mark Zuckerberg. You're fucking with, you know, look, Elon Musk didn't own Twitter in the age of Corona, so there's only so much we can say about Elon Musk. But we do know that most of his money is coming from the government contracts he gets from SpaceX, right? Cool. But we do know that Zuckerberg and all them, especially as it relates to the elections and to Corona, that Zuckerberg is going to do whatever the fucking government wants, or specifically whatever the liberal Democrat politicians want him to do with his platform. So when you go there, just
Well, I
know that
don't.
should be slanted hard body towards getting you to be susceptible to Democratic Party messaging and shit like that.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to be only Democratic Party. You're going to have mainstream Republicans, the ones they call the rhinos. I think you're going to have them fleeing over there too.
But they don't have
And
no. But they don't have no. They don't have any. They don't have nothing that's going to make them run over there. You understand? Like Trump is not running over there. Like if Trump ran over there, and maybe some of them would go, but a lot of them don't even want to really go over there. They spread out
well,
on many
I
different
don't think
apps.
establishment don't really like Trump like that. I
Oh, not the
mean,
establishment, but I'm just saying in terms of getting the right wing and conservatives to jump on this thread.
no. They're not going to get the
Oh,
conservatives. I'm talking
yeah.
about the I'm talking about more the Mitt Romneys, the
Oh,
Lindsey
yeah.
Grahams, the Marco
Yeah,
Rubios,
yeah, yeah.
and the people who fall in that ilk. Like where I
Leave.
grew up in the suburban areas, you had two different types of Republicans. It was clearly obvious. You had the Republicans who were about the Republican economics, and you had the ones who were Republicans mainly on the culture stuff, and they didn't even really focus on the
Mhm.
economic side. And so I think you're going to have the ones who are basically economically very similar to the Democrats who are going to be over there, and they're just going to occasionally throw out some, I believe in pro-life and, you know, we need conservative judges and low taxes. You're going to have that over there. But you're going to have the DeSantis type culture war stuff that I believe is going to really accelerate on Twitter if that does go the trajectory I believe it'll go, because that's honestly what you have on Facebook. I mean, I've had a Facebook since forever. I don't really do any. I put up videos every now and then on there, respond to a couple of friends,
Oh,
messages,
streets.
but I
I
don't
didn't
get
even see
into
the
anything
logo.
political there.
Streets.
It honestly
Marcus,
looks
did you see
like
the thread logo? Streets is saying
it looks like Homer
Streets saying it
Simpson's
got the
ear.
3 6s in it.
It probably do. It probably do. It looked like Homer Simpson's
Mm.
ear. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
If my thing, let's okay, it's acting right now.
No, I haven't seen
Um,
it. That doesn't surprise me at all, though.
let's see. Let's see if this
Bam,
will
there you go,
pop up.
Thomas. Thomas, you got it. I think Twitter uses
There it
Black
is.
and Social Justice.
Let's see. Figures. It's gonna take forever to get back. Oh, there we go. Came back. Cool. Man, I don't know what's been going on with my stream. It's normally really good, and over the last couple of months, it's just been getting more and more hiccups. See it?
Okay.
All you did is they didn't even flip it backwards. It's exactly the same.
Mm.
And you know what it is, right? It's his initials,
Oh,
Matt
now I
Norman.
see it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But They literally just copied off of Homer Simpson's ear. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, y'all could multi-billion-dollar company, and that's the shit y'all come up with.
That who?
Frozen. I said multi-billion-dollar company, and that's the shit y'all come up with. Sorry, I guess I
Oh
keep
yeah, I know.
freezing.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, that
Two
shit
white
is,
stitches and one black stitch.
again, we'll see how it works. Like anything else, if you want to discuss normal banter shit, like, hey, look at the picture of the kids, what we did this weekend. Hey, look at this dress I'm about to buy. Look at these sneakers I'm about to cop. Look at these shorts I'm about to cop, etc., etc. I guess Threads will be all right. I mean, it's whenever you'll get into either anything sexual or political, you'll get to see how much tolerance they have for it. But I do guarantee this: if you want to go on there and say that you're all for trans shit, they'll promote you on that one. That you could fucking bet. You can't say anything offensive or harmful, but you could get on there and say that biological men are women. I mean,
well, hold on a second before you get going there, because you were talking about how it's gonna be definitely more slanted towards that kind of commentary over there.
Oh,
this
100%.
this ties into the Anna Kasparian stuff. Have you heard any of this?
So they're mad. That's the chick who's on the Young Turks, right? And they're mad at
Yeah.
her not because she said she wanted to kill anybody, but because
I got
she
a
said
video.
she's
I got a
woman.
video. Hold on. I got a video. I want you to respond to the video.
Yeah.
I want you to respond catching it fresh. At the political matches with the Thread logo, it looks like an ad, but they played around with it to make it look more original. That's probably what it is, but it looks a lot like the Homer Simpson thing to me. We're dealing with people who aren't that bright. Man, why is black men always trending on my thing on Twitter? Every time I go to my Twitter for you, black men is always trending. It's like they only feed me certain people this information. I don't mean like I gotta make sure I clarify people out there. I'm not a cannibal. We're not talking about me eating off of people. Talking about in our Twitter feed the information that they give me. So let me share this. This was on the Hill, and you'll see. Audience, just know you guys are in for a treat. If it catch up, come on, catch up. There we go. So, there we go. Can you see it all right, Chris?
I was just in the rock film. Okay, got it.
Got it? All right. Here we go.
Young Turks' Anna Kasparian is catching heat for saying she has left the left.
I'm going through something very real and very sincere, and it's uncomfortable, and it has not been an enjoyable process for me. It's been difficult. And so the internet being what it is, all sorts of people from all sorts of political ideologies have theories on like what's actually happening with me, right? And the main accusation, both from the left and the right, is that I'm grifting, which is hilarious because literally nothing has changed about my work life. I'm in the same place. I have the same audience. The audience doesn't like some of what I have to say or some of the new conclusions I've come to. And so I wanted to kind of set the record straight about what I have personally experienced. I don't know what my political labels are at this point, right? Because I feel like I don't really fit anywhere. And that's just full honesty. It's, again, very uncomfortable for me. And I want to say that out of any point in my adult life, this is probably the point where I'm the most malleable and open to new.
And I wanted to stop it right there because
she said she's open, Marcus. You gonna go take a shot?
No, not that kind. That's not why I'm stopping. But I understand what it's like when you don't feel you fit in politically where you were always aligned. I don't know if you remember, Chris, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I did a video just like this?
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling people that I don't know how I align with the left anymore. Economically, I still support leftist economic views. But when it comes to social issues, in actuality, if you ask me, I'm a little bit more socially conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work? And then I realized I'm still actually a leftist. I'm just a leftist in the sense of more what the international community is. Because when you go into, like, say, South America, or you go into Africa, or you go into even parts of Europe, your economic policy is how you are aligned politically. It is not about your cultural issues. You can still want lower taxes and still be pushing, for abortion. I mean, or not put against abortion, or pushing trans rights and all that stuff like that. Because what you find, especially in Latin America, in South America in particular, is people on the right and the left will both be heavily religious and both share the same cultural belief system. Economically is where things separate. In America, America flips everything backwards. This is a leftist viewpoint. This is a right viewpoint. When you guys are talking about cultural issues, not economic issues.
It's just like quote, Obamacare was socialism, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Jared gave me a thumbs up. Oh, sorry. No,
Sure.
that's a negative. That's a negative. But Jared, I sent you that video, and I was going into it, and some of the stuff that I talked about earlier about all these ties monetarily, why I don't get involved in the political system, the way I used to. It all is encompassed kind of in my little mini rant that I went on there in that video. It's probably like 20 minutes long. Just check it out. Y'all got 20 minutes y'all can spare us if y'all spend the time y'all do with us on a Saturday. So just hop over to my other channel when you guys get the chance and check out that video. I lay into especially how I feel on those things. Yeah,
Marcus, but isn't half her problem not so much? Isn't her issue that, was it a couple months ago, she waded into the trans debate and she basically said, if you're born a man, you're a man despite what you do to yourself.
And then they're gonna get into that. Yeah, they're gonna get into that. I mean, basically, most of this is having to do more with trans rights issues and stuff. So that's why I'm like, I'm gonna let it play, and you tell me where you want me to stop it and where you want to comment on this. I mean, we're not gonna play the whole thing. I think maybe about 4 or 5 minutes gets to kind of the point that I wanted to share. But let's continue.
This comes after a transgender producer employed by the Young Turks posted a video sharing that they are leaving the network over what they say is Kasparian and co-host Cenk Uyghur's complicity in anti-LGBTQ sentiment.
Friend of the show, Alayemi Olarin, weighed in on the drama. She actually popped in on a live stream of a YouTube show called The Vanguard Boys to offer her perspective as they were covering the Anna Kasparian commentary, and basically expressed some frustration that despite trying to stay out of it, she recently went on a Young Turks to very patiently try to push back against some of the takes that they've had with respect to criminal justice issues. She, as a public defender, has a lot of expertise in that area and a very distinct position that was different from theirs. And she has been tried to have constructive conversations, in her view, and been very cordial and polite to them. And still, she gets a lot of pushback of a less cordial nature, I think is how she would describe it. And so there was some frustration that she expressed, that even though everyone has kind of gone out of.
Okay. Oh, do you want to hop in?
No, I'm good. You can let it play. I was just saying peace out to Warren.
Oh, peace out, Warren. And what I wanted to throw in after I just heard her say that is, align me. It's they're talking about. Well, I feel like I'm getting pushed back. Of course, because people don't necessarily agree. If that person doesn't agree, they don't agree. It's not like you're going to go on and you're going to say this magic thing that's going to make them say, you know what, I agree with you now. I mean, as long as it's staying respectful and cordial, okay, just let the people disagree with you and then find the matters that you guys agree on and you build and work there. But it seems like some of these people who are activists on this, I mean, if you don't thread the needle perfectly and say exactly what they want, they feel you're being combative and dismissive and all of this stuff. And when I used to have to go to therapy after the military for like PTSD, they talked about, well, was it for PTSD? No, I think it was for anger management. And they would talk about fair fighting. And they would use the term, make sure that you're not hitting below the belt or wearing the belt too high. And I think we have a community of people who are pulling the belt very, very high and saying this stuff, which would normally be body blows, now all of that is hitting below the belt. And it's because you're intentionally, everything a person says is being taken offensively. But here, I'll let it keep going.
Another way to try to be patient with Ana Kasparian and to give her a lot of grace as a member of the community, that there's some frustration with how she's characterizing how she's being treated by the left. Whether or not you want to call it a grift or what have you.
What does grift even mean at this point? I would use that word to describe someone, I guess, who I suspect is insincerely pretending to change their beliefs for more clout or to reach a bigger audience or different audience. Maybe that applies to certain figures who are ostensibly progressive and now, they still say they're progressive, but they're, mostly talking about right-wing stuff or where they happen to agree with the right wing, maybe on trans issues or COVID or something. I don't know. I frankly don't know if this applies to Ana. It sounds like maybe she's sincerely changed her mind. I mean, she's consciously saying, I don't really associate myself with all leftist views anymore. Maybe I don't know, I've changed. I haven't significantly changed. I don't think any of the policies I really support over the last few years, but living in a city as crime has gotten worse made me rethink, again, not like fundamentally change my outlook on criminal justice reform, but made me a little bit more inclined to go, well, maybe there's something that needs to be confronted here. It's not a grift. It's just like the experience of life. I hadn't really thought about vaccine mandates very hard for most of my life, where I would have said you should have them for schools.
I'll tell you,
and now I've thought about it. Now I have a radically different view on it.
Specifically, the argument about being grift is this. Ana has demonstrated a really competent understanding of why it is that the left, many people on the left, think it's perfectly reasonable and even good to respect people's pronouns, to use language that acknowledges what many in the mainstream and on the right characterize as goofy, if not harmful, things like the phrase birthing people, or the most recent controversy is referring to trans men as having bonus holes instead of vaginas because of their dysmorphia.
Ooh.
And
sorry.
Ana in the past, and I don't know if we have this clip, has articulated very clearly why, if you want to be accommodating or kind to those people, you can think dysmorphia is mental illness and characterize it however you want. But if you acknowledge that they obviously are having some dissonance with the way they were born versus how they feel that they are in a clinical setting, using language that is enabling them to get the health care they need, it's hard for me to see why anyone would have a problem with that. And Ana Kasparian has articulated that exact belief within like the last year, arguing against conservatives who would reject that kind of language. And now, without any real reckoning with that previous clip that's gone viral many times now, she has reversed course on that particular issue. And after years, Young Turks is the oldest left media institution, I believe, that there is, a real front runner in the online media space. after years of speaking very specifically and knowledgeably about any number of criminal justice issues, with the world being what it is for all of that time, crime didn't just come anew during this time. Nothing has really changed substantively in the way of the world. A sudden decision to say, well, the left just doesn't care about victims of crime. I mean, some people make that argument and they don't know better. The left's argument isn't that it's not horrible when people are victims of crime on subways or in their communities. The left's argument isn't that we should let gun violence go unchecked because it would be bad to arrest people who murder. That's not what criminal justice reform is about. It's not what police abolition is about. It's not what any of this is about. The whole question is whether or not we can lower crime rates more effectively than throwing money at police budgets has done by addressing the root causes of the crime, right? And Anna knows that. So to know that, to have said that, to have articulated that so many times in the past, and now take a different approach where you characterize, I would argue, mischaracterize what the left's agenda has been. The left agenda that you have been a part of is causing people to really wonder what's motivating that shift. And given that we live in a media climate,
I had to stop right there. I figured you probably would have wanted to jump in sooner, but she said that you're kind of jumping off at the left's agenda. Am I frozen? And but I don't remember when that all became the left agenda. What about you, Chris?
I hear her. I hear her. You know, I hear her take down and shit like that. But I've seen her say some goofy shit online too. At the end of the day, what is this about? With the left nowadays, they're more concerned, well, the online left, because when you're not online and you talk to people, they're not like this. So the online left or the online liberals voting bloc, again, not all, it's a portion of that. They're more concerned with their sexuality and what the fuck they want to describe as a man or a woman. And if you are not on board with them, they really act like a gang or a mafia, and they try to get everybody to not fuck with you anymore. That's really what this is about. That's why Anna's leaving. Earlier this week on Twitter, maybe it was last week, I think Brianna said something like, damn, you could say anything but just disagree with, the trans community, and all of a sudden you're not an ally, you're nobody to be backed for. So to the trans community who's watching, and anybody who's sympathetic to them, who may hear this in my voice and wonder, like, damn, what they ever do to him? They not there in my corner. They don't look out for me. The only thing they worry about is their own fucking sexuality, their own mental problems, and their own fucking health issues that arise from them making the decision to go from Charlie to Christina. All right. So they're not allies to us in anything. They ain't going to be on the front lines doing shit. They'll make their comments online, and that's about it. But, as black men, a lot of black folks ain't with that shit. So, low key, it don't take much for them to switch up and start talking very reckless towards and about us just the same. I see you. I've heard it. I peep game. It's not lost on me. I don't care what you do. You're still a man at the end of the day. I don't care how much makeup or what surgery you had. You're still a dude.
I mean, I just feel like, some of this stuff, I just don't get it. And like, I think Brianna brings up in here later, she starts talking about, what's the problem with calling people cisgender, and Robbie, because you can tell Robbie is not trying to really give her no kind of grief about this, not trying to cause no problems. But it's like, if he's not acquiescing to kind of exactly what the community wants, it's not like, let's negotiate this a little bit. Mm-hmm. This is how I say it is, and you need to accept that. Because he starts asking, he's like, so what's the problem with saying trans woman? Why does it now have to be I'm a woman, or I'm a man, but you're a cis man? I'm like, I never understood. I'm like, wait a minute, you're the one who is changing yourself, but
Correct.
the term for what I'm called needs to be changed. I'd never understood that. I heard Lucky's interview with Zaynab, and it seemed like Zaynab was trying to give a very nuanced take to this. And from listening to her, she sounds like she's a very strong ally to the trans community. And she said that I heard her say that when she just tried to ask questions, she's not even trying to say, I disagree with this, I don't accept that. She just started to ask some questions, being a mom and everything, wanting to be informed on the subject. And the backlash that she got from just even asking a question, and that's why I brought up that whole, talking about wearing the belt too high. There are people who are literally allies of the trans community, but they're making it anybody who says anything that they even take slightly wrong is the enemy. That does not help. That I don't feel like that helps the cause. And if you're kind of firing towards people who are not 1,000% exactly up with everything how you're believing, what about the people who 1,000% disagree with everything you're saying and will like to take it the next level to pass laws to go against those things which you're trying to fight for? And then those ones who want to go the next level, who would want to harm you. What I feel like they're doing, which I feel like is dangerous. I'm not saying this is me, but I could see how that aggressiveness towards somebody who's trying to just ask questions and clarifications and have a conversation, how you could push some of those people into a lane where they're like, you know what? Fine, I'm just throwing my hands up and I don't want nothing to do with this. You're on your own. And I mean, I'm just trying to, I don't know. Let me know in the chat if y'all think I'm tripping, I'm right, wrong, where we're at, because I almost feel like Bree is arguing from a very biased standpoint.
Which is fine, but at the end of the day, what she's saying is,
I get it. You are not only that you are sympathetic, that you are what's the word they call? You're almost like a surrogate for this particular movement. And you're not understanding why somebody is a little bit off on this terminology or that terminology that you're saying. Like what I do, and I'll be honest, I hate the pronouns stuff. What is your name? Is your name Jimmy? Cool. I'm going to call you Jimmy. For people who are not playing, who are not a part of that, and they're fine with, they're a woman and they want to call her, cool, and everything's going to stay the same. But I don't know. It's just it's confusing to me when what's gone on for literally millennia, as far as we can think back to the beginning of time, has been how things have been. For a group of people to come along within like the past what at max a decade and tell whole world you need to flip and change everything to the way I view it. I don't know. I don't get it.
That's how it's going.
Yeah. There's Brianna Ware.
I don't know. Talking reckless in there.
I just don't know. Actually, I want to keep an eye out because I do plan to. I saw some things which she talked about in there with Lucky that I really would like for her to go into, because she's done some digging into some of this stuff and sees it from a different perspective than I do. I tend to kind of leave a lot of this stuff alone. As you guys know, this is not a topic I like to go into very often, just because of how divisive it typically is. But I feel at the same time also, if I'm not at least putting out where I stand on the topic, then it almost comes across as if I'm just trying to, hide from it. I don't want anybody to think I'm hiding from any issues or I'm trying to be deceptive. I just, every now and then you lay out your point and move on. I don't know. What's your thoughts, man? I feel like I've said a lot.
No, I mean, again, I'm trying not to repeat myself, but again, these programs exist. Well, let me not say that. That's not the only reason why they exist. But the people on these programs are Democrats or Democrat light. All of their arguments, all of their talks, at the end of the day, the majority of people who take in this content are going to vote for Democrats or Republicans. They're going to buy into the system. So I don't even know what to say.
I'll play a little bit more of it.
Funny.
I'll play a little bit more, and I'll see if there's any point you want to get in and rebut anything she's saying. I feel like hopefully I'm being considered and respectfully kind of disagreeing with some of the stuff she's saying. But if I'm out of line, y'all let me know.
Where, like it or not, there is an enormous appetite for people who leave the left. Dave Rubin is often brought up as an example of this. People who say, I'm an independent thinker. I can't be put in a box. I'm willing to challenge the establishment. I'm really willing to challenge orthodoxies. Sometimes that's authentic and that's fine. But we also have to acknowledge that there's an appetite for that. And one wonders, given some of the struggles that all online creators have dealt with, especially in like the post kind of Bernie world on the left, whether or not there is an effort to attract a bigger audience by taking on subjects that are hot topics right now, and that the left typically has been on the less sexy side of.
Yeah, I mean, you would know that better than me. It from observing it from a distance, it looks to me like whatever the Bernie wave has crested, and it's harder to draw an audience by just by talking. I mean, we can tell from the kinds of things we talk about on this.
People's inability to afford rent and their medical debt and the cost of food and the exorbitant cost of education. Yes, these are issues which poll as people's priorities, but which they don't seem especially interested in hearing about in a news context.
Yeah, or at least on YouTube, right?
Sure,
the model for Anna's show and for our show, and you got to talk about what the viewers are interested in. So Young Turks is hardly. I mean, there are a lot of different, very successful independent media shows that are still very supportive of trans rights and issues. So it's hardly the case. I think that, well, if you want Young Turks to survive, they've got to go anti. Is she not supportive of trans?
No, she is. She is. And the point that she's making in that clip is that she still supports people's rights to health care and housing and all of those substantive rights, which I think is important. And I don't think it's useful to lump her in with your average.
We need some middle ground language to refer to some of the requests or asks coming from activists on behalf of trans issues that to use terminology that is again cringe
but that's
or something.
The thing.
That's
Who's
not.
Making the
I'm
ask?
not gonna. I don't want to deride people as mentally. The conservatives will say some conservatives, Matt Walsh, I believe, are mentally deranged. That's really mean and alienating and not true. And you shouldn't diagnose people from a distance.
Right.
Or also, no, we'll just say
the
whatever
problem.
anyone wants, no matter how awkward that language is.
But here's the problem. One UK cancer group, I think. So not our country and not indicative of the broader views even within that country. Mm-hmm. One group has a conversation about whether or not it would make trans men feel better to use terminology other than vagina when they don't identify as women. Mm-hmm. And suddenly, across the pond, Anna Kasparian, who ostensibly has all these other concerns as a leftist, is making that into a national case where she is saying, you don't refer to my vagina as a bonus hole, which nobody ever did. right? Like the whole conversation is about whether or not trans men should have that term applied to them. Mm-hmm. And this really maps on to the earlier controversy she was engaged with in the spring, where she insisted that it was disrespectful to her to be referred to as a birthing woman. I think it's fine for her to articulate that she would prefer to be called a woman and not a birthing person, or whatever she prefers to be called, Anna Kasparian, God bless, whatever she wants to be called. But it is dishonest to say that someone else who wants to be called something else is infringing on your self-identification by simply talking about their own self-identification. And that's why people were upset. No one could find the human being that once referred to Anna Kasparian as a birthing person. No one could source this person who allegedly has infringed upon her rights to self-identification by insisting on her being a birthing person other than a woman. I think we can all agree that her self-identification matters, and I'm happy to, and only have, referred to.
Jeez, my computer's frozen again. Apologies.
Oh.
I'm trying to get back over and stop it.
I was going to say, yeah, that clip was getting on my nerves because now I don't really want to hear anything else you got to say.
I figured I watched it. I watched the whole thing of this, and if you guys want to, of course, you guys can always go over to the Heel Rising and watch this whole clip. I don't know. I want to hear more of your thoughts on it.
To her as a woman.
More of your thoughts on it, sir.
Wait, run that back again. What'd she say?
She said thoughts on a woman. What was that?
Oh.
Be called something else is infringing on your self-identification by simply talking about their own self-identification. And that's why people were upset. No one could find the human being that once referred to Anna Kasparian as a birthing person. No one could source this person who allegedly has infringed upon her rights to self-identification by insisting on her being a birthing person other than a woman. I think we can all agree that her self-identification matters, and I'm happy to, and only have, referred to her as a woman. But now-
oh, that's what it was said. I mean, the only time I really get involved in like feeling a need to push anything is when it starts involving kids. Mm-hmm. I don't feel a kid can make the choice, even if a kid decides, later on I am trans. I do not feel. I mean, if kids, then if a kid can make those kind of decisions, are we going to start allowing underage girls to start getting, breast implants? Are we gonna start allowing like kids to just get tattoos? I mean, are we just at that point? Why come a kid couldn't just say, you know what? I feel like for me, I don't need to go to school anymore. It's kind of like the same. It's kind of like the same thing with the military. I felt like so I can go over here and die for free, but yet I can't buy alcohol on my own. I mean, and for those who were 17 in the military, you can go out and go die for your country, but you can't buy alcohol, cigarettes, rent an apartment, or car.
Correct. You can't do any of that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're too young. You're not considered an adult. So you can't do any of that shit. You can't get a tattoo. You can't go to a liquor store. You can't sign yourself out of school. You driver's license. You can't get a gun. All that other kind of shit, right? You can't. But you're old enough to tell the school and the doctor, yo, I want to cut off my penis. Please give me all the drugs in the world that I need to, make that happen. And so that I don't feel it as much every day. That's okay for a child that's an okay choice for a child. Anything else that we mentioned prior is not okay. It goes to show you these people are mentally damaged, bro.
Big time. And I see Lucky's in the chat. Lucky. Shout out to Lucky because it was something that she was saying, and when she was having her interview with Zaina, and I was like, I guess I can see that, but I can't necessarily identify with that the same way. She was talking about going through puberty. Her body felt all weird and pains and this and that. for guys, this is one thing which I'll say where men and women are definitely not necessarily created equally, because for most guys, maybe you have some awkwardness, but for the most part, you're not really having any pain or weirdness or any of the traumatic stuff that I've heard multiple women talk about. And I understand how the going through puberty can be more jarring for women than for men. I definitely believe that. Definitely at this point, I definitely believe that. And so that's something I also feel like that could be feeding into this, that what's the difference between a woman who's having an issue dealing with going through puberty at this point and pains and feeling unpretty and all of that stuff to, you know, how do we know what's exactly normal? And then people are saying, well, I feel like a boy. Well, I grew up with plenty of Tom girls who they were out there playing with the boys. They had no interest in doing anything that would be considered feminine. But many of them turn out to be very feminine women now in their adulthood, in their 30s, 40s, some of them in their 50s. And I think this mentality of trying to define, oh, well, you're a little boy you're not playing sports, so maybe you really want to be a woman. I mean, people need to stop trying to force their issues onto kids. And I would extend this outside of even just this topic. I would extend this to, I mean, back in the day, it used to be, how many sports dads did we know that they might have got hurt, didn't make it, or they weren't good enough, so now they're going to force their kid to be the next, you know, Barry Sanders? I mean, how many moms who are forcing their daughters through these pageants and stuff like that because they always wanted to do it, but maybe they didn't have the money for it. And it's a lot of parents living through their kids and forcing their views on their kids. Now, I know, of course, that's part of being a parent, to raise your kid and teach them this, but I think that balance is getting blurred between giving ground rules and helping raise that kid, and then also starting to kind of push stuff into this kid's brain that is not naturally there. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's in all the cases. I'm saying I think that it's more of that going on, because it seems weird to me how the numbers of people who are identifying in this category is just flying through the roof all of a sudden. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't. And I'm not saying that people are not. I'm not saying people aren't going through these different things, but I'm wondering, and that's the thing, you get criticized a lot of times, even if you ask some of these questions. How many of these people are truly feeling this way, and this is their solution for whatever they're going through? How many people? And how many people, because they feel influenced by their peer group and people around them, that they're feeling a need to do this? Or like, and I've also heard how many people where they're having just some questions, and the first kind of doctor visit they have, they're being shuttled pills and suggested surgeries and stuff, which I've heard that. And so I do want to hear the people who transition and they feel like it was the greatest thing for them, but I don't want that to overshadow the people who say, no, that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. It has traumatized and ruined my life. And I want to be able to hear all the different sides of it. Lucky, who's in the chat, Lucky did a really good interview with a woman who was born intersex and the kind of complications she had going in between that and trying to figure things out and being put on testosterone and taken off and all that. Recommend y'all definitely check that out. But, sorry, Chris, I'll let you go into it because I kind of just rambled on a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of reading the comments, so I kind of got lost a little bit. Ruby, I thought she was going to have a good story. I mean, I'm just teasing, but no, that's kind of crazy. Look, man, they live in a different world than us, man. They really do. And They're about to find out that their world is not as big as they thought. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Because this conversation is coming up often now across many different topics, right? It's finding its way. It's not finding. The Democratic Party, their allies, and the people, their DEI people from the World Economic Forum and the like. They put out their orders, and everyone has to go along with it, as you can see. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather get into Ukraine and to the Ukraine and the money in Ukraine.
And then I also worry about how much oxygen some of these topics are taking, and where it's not getting to other issues that need to be talked about. For instance, on the left, people are, I'll say, culturally leftists are really been talking about this issue, and you do have the people who are trans right activists, and I get it. If you're a trans right activist, you should be talking about this all the time. I get it. It's just like if you were civil rights, you should be on that. If you're somebody who's trying to get rid of the incarceration state, if you are an activist for a certain thing, I expect it from you. But some commentators are pushing on some of these things a lot. And then you have people who are on the right who are hardcore pushing against some of these things. And then you find out like the population of people, like for some of the trans in sports stuff, that the numbers of people who this is even possibly affecting is a very, very small amount. And there are plenty of people who are spending a lot of time talking about that and not talking about a lot of other things.
It's a whole fact.
I mean, I get it. It's a topic that's interesting and people want to get into, but like for instance, well, since my computer's acting crazy, I'm gonna just pull this story up and read it. Well, I don't even have to read the whole story. I can just give you the title. Mayor faces, what did it say? Hold on. I put my volume all the way down. Mayor faces burglary and trespassing charges. I'm pretty sure nobody heard about that story. What about the fact that Denmark's prime minister is resigning? He's resigning because of the factions in the country disputes about what should be done as far as immigration. And the king just basically gave him that, when the when the manager comes out to the mound for the pitcher, taps him on the shoulder and is like, hey, bring the lefty in. This is kind of what's going on. They're like, yo, you're not really doing this right, so let's go on ahead and handle this. Yeah, exactly.
And that's all I got.
For sure. That's what they want. They want us to get lost in these topics so we don't see what they're really trying to do. I 1,000% agree with that, Ruby. And one like talked about that was it. Okay, I guess I can't put it on the screen because my computer's acting crazy again. Apologies. It says Emily Dow was born intersex, raised male until high school, and she found out she was intersex and had a body transition to female instead. She is a friend. Yeah, that's one of the stories I was talking about. Now, somebody who is born intersex, that's a whole different category. And I feel like a person like that, they should be having these conversations with these doctors on issues like that. Some of this other stuff, I'm like, can we just let kids be kids for a while? Let them just run around playing the dirt, round up a bunch of weeds that they think are flowers. I mean, stuff that kids do. Make mud pies. I don't know. Maybe that's stuff I did as a kid. I don't know. Anybody out there make mud pies? Play out in the rain. I mean, stuff like that. You don't know about mud pies, do you? We literally like find like an old plate and get a whole bunch of like mud and clump it on there and like a stick and like smooth it out like you made a pie.
No good.
Oh, Gregory says it's because Marcus, they're conditioning us to let the state raise our kids and make our decisions for us. Ugh. I mean, some of the stuff that Zainab was saying, she was saying she was going to all these peer-reviewed sources, and then when she asked certain questions, they were almost like throwing the turf label on her, and she's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Wait a minute! I'm on your side. What do you? I'm just trying to learn about the subject. I'm not making a determination. I'm not calling you anything. I'm just trying to learn." And it's like even the questioning, which that's almost like it kind of reminds me. Well, since I notice a lot more people are becoming atheists, what I'm seeing is they're taking their political beliefs and turning that into their religion. That's what it appears like to me, anyway. I could be wrong. If y'all disagree, let me know. John know about some mud pies. That's what I'm talking about. And then we'd have what? Go down to the creek and have stick races. You don't know about that, Chris. You don't know about that. Y'all just hung out on the stoop and busted open fire extinguishers and played out. And then took old pairs of shoes and throw them up on the power lines. You know about that, right?
Oh, of course. They would put them all up there. You know, every neighborhood across the country, they be trying to, like, you know, hang their sneakers up.
I've never understood that. My mom was looking at me like,
yeah, I didn't get it either.
I'll beat your ass if you decide to throw them shoes up there. Like, they only got one hole in it. Keep going. You're going to wear them for a couple more months before you can get a new pair. You get new shoes at the beginning of the year. That's it. That is it. One a year. We got lucky with basketball. Got a little bit more. But and especially as I got older, but especially as a kid, man, there was a lot of hand-me-downs and old crap, and so I can understand maybe some of these kids are wearing clothes that might be a little too tight, a little bit too big, especially when you factor in, you know, poverty in some of these communities. Parents don't necessarily have the money to go buy you a whole bunch of new school clothes. I mean, we would get like a couple of outfits. So at least that first week you'd be looking fly, and then after that it's all the same shit you had from last year and years before that. Let's see. We haven't talked about the weapons to Ukraine. Let's see if this will help me pull this up. I don't know, unless anybody else in the chat got anything else to say on this topic. Before we close it out and move to the next. Oh, yeah. We need a little laugh, right? We need a little laugh in here. Have you seen your sister lately?
Which one?
Vice President.
Oh, no, I haven't. I avoid that broad. What did she say?
Oh, my God. This is wonderful. This was wonderful. I was like, all right. I forget. And think about it. This woman could possibly be a president one day.
Well, I think culture is a reflection of our moment in our time, right? And present culture is the way we express how we're feeling about the moment. And we should always find times to express how we feel about the moment that is a reflection of joy, because you know, it comes in the morning. We have to find ways to also express the way we feel about the moment in terms of
it does
having
come in the
language
morning
and a connection.
Might want to be
how
careful.
people are experiencing life, and I think about it in that way too. Well,
Yeah.
Mm.
Does anybody
word
speak? Anybody speak
word
Kamala?
salad. Yeah, just word salad and laughing at herself. I went to the store yesterday and
It
that's what
comes
she
in the
does.
morning. Yeah,
Yeah, it
man.
comes in the morning. Yeah, Kamala. Kamala, you wouldn't even know though, because it looked like your dude Doug don't even know what to do with it. So you wouldn't know about that,
He went
right?
there, huh?
Yeah, Kamala, and she looked like another one. She looked like, what are you gonna do with that? What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do what? Nah, she looked like she ain't ready for it either. She looked like she ain't had no good deed, and since she was probably like maybe a freshman in college when that's probably the last time she messed with a black dude. After that, she probably was like, nah, I ain't messing with y'all no more.
What was it? After that mayor, what was it? Willie Brown?
Yeah, yeah,
Willie
yeah. She
Brown
gave
showed
Willie
her how to
Brown
get
some.
down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Willie Brown showed her how to get down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did.
Telling I always trust the science, and you should know it, Gregory. She is always speaking something profound, words of wisdom that we can take in and incorporate into our daily lives. Words to live by.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. I got one other video I was meaning to pull up for you. Let's see. Man, I do not know what the hell is going on with this. Nina might have been right. It might be some solar flares or something. I don't know what's going on. I have one. I might have to do it old school. Remember when I used to put the phone up to the mic? You remember that, Chris?
Oh yeah, all the time.
That was back when I wasn't as tech savvy, people.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't very tech savvy. I'm still not really. But let's see. If it doesn't want to pull up this way for me. Dang, no. I kind of need this to pull up because this is a video. I need to. Damn it. Or you know what? Maybe I can send this to you.
Uh-oh. Where'd he go? Did he get kicked out? I don't know what happened with Marcus, but it just left me here. I know he's trying to send me something on the phone. No, he didn't send me nothing yet. John, I see your comment when you say her own father called her a sellout. I would assume you're talking about Kamala Harris's father and his criticisms of her, right? And that came basically after her Breakfast Club interview where, she pretended that she smoked weed and listened to Tupac and she listened to Snoop Dogg, before they even had projects out. So when they went on to ask her during that same interview, did she smoke weed? She was like, "Oh, come on, I'm Jamaican." Like, meanwhile, her Jamaican people don't get down like that. They're not Rastafarians. They're not dudes who just burn. They're more on the white side of things. Oh, I know, right, Thomas? But they're more on the white. They're more on the white side of things. So they felt that was probably beneath them. Using cannabis. So he was very critical of Kamala for even saying those words and saying that it played into the stereotypes of the worst stereotypes of Jamaican people.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not cool. She's gonna use her black card until she has to play her Asian card.
Yep.
Because she can't play the Caribbean card no more. You know what I mean?
Oh, I guarantee you, she ready to torch that black card as fast as possible. Well, no, she can't really because she's part of the Divine Nine, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
She is one of them. If y'all don't know, so I wanted to
Yeah,
show y'all this. Oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say on the next topic. I wanted to show y'all this video because I guess I'll read the story while I get the other one. While I get the video up, if I can get the video up. Shit, I'm frozen again. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. Man, I don't know what's going on with my IT. I'll just read this one. It'll be easier. It says the U.S. will provide cluster bombs to Ukraine and defends the delivery of the controversial weapon. President Joe Biden on Friday defended what he said was a difficult decision to provide cluster munitions to Ukraine, a move that the administration said was key to the fight and buttressed by Ukraine's promise to use the controversial bombs carefully. Now, are you guys familiar with cluster bombs? What about you, Chris? Are you familiar with cluster bombs?
Yeah, that's some shit we're not even supposed to use because this shit has no, let me not say no, but okay, I can pinpoint the target and say I want to hit you at your house, but when I hit your house, everything in the fucking vicinity goes boom too.
Let me show you guys. Yes, and thanks for adding that, Jira. Cluster bombs and enriched uranium. Our government has been murdering the whole country of Ukraine and a bunch of Russians for almost 10 years. They enriched for rich. Yes. Let me show you guys this video. Hopefully it comes up really quickly. Are you seeing it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll push play. It's because I want you guys to have a visual, understand exactly what a cluster bomb is and why it's so problematic.
Cluster bombs are munitions consisting of a projectile known as a parent munition that transports several hundred bomblets, or cluster munitions. Dropped by aircraft or launched from the ground, cluster bombs are designed to be dispersed over a wide area the size of several football pitches. As these weapons are generally free-falling, they can strike the ground a considerable distance from the target area if they're not used correctly, or if conditions are, for example, windy. In addition, not all bomblets detonate on impact. They thus become de facto anti-personnel mines, banned by the 1997 Ottawa Convention. Years after a conflict is over, they can kill dozens of people, including small children, attracted by their bright colors. By signing the Oslo Convention, more than 100 countries have pledged to clear contaminated areas, a long and dangerous task.
So that's just one video on what they're sending over there, cluster bombs.
Well, you know, they got to clear out the inventory to make room for new orders. You know what I'm saying? For the upgraded versions of these weapons. So that's all it is. They're using Ukraine to use whatever weapons they want against the Russians because they truly and really don't care about the people of Ukraine. It's really that simple. And again, more money laundering shit for the manufacturer, for the weapons manufacturers. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, again, it's a money laundering operation. Everybody gets their bag except for these citizens.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was like. Yeah, I honestly, I completely agree that they're clearing out inventory right now. They are clearing out inventory. I mean, I don't know what's going on with this. Oh, is this the one I wanted to show? Yeah, one more video for you. Now, that was kind of a more animated one. I want to show you guys this actual video. Damn it. If I can get this thing to go up. Maybe I need to unplug my internet or something. Give them tanks and planes, they can't even feel that. I mean, well, the reason why they're doing this, I forgot. I can probably read a little bit more into that article before I play this one. But the reason why they're doing this, where'd it go? Guess I need to open it back up. The reason why they're doing this, it took a while. It took me a while to be convinced to do it, said Biden in a CNN interview. He added that he ultimately took the Defense Department's recommendation to provide the munitions and discussed the matter with allies and with lawmakers on the Hill. He said the Ukrainians are running out of ammunition, and the cluster bombs will provide a temporary fix to help stop Russian tanks. So, the Ukrainians are winning the war, right?
I mean, I hear it all the time. I hear that they're winning. And at the end of the day, like, we're still sending more equipment, more money, more shit, more this, more that. So, I mean, shouldn't they almost be at the finish line by now?
Yo, this goes back to that little image that I made about what was it? I had Joe Biden. Well, I had Zelensky's face on a stripper, and then Biden was like throwing money. That's kind of the same thing. When you throw your money to a dancer, that's not helping you. That money is not coming back to you in any kind of way. You're just wasting money.
Mm-hmm.
In my perspective, you could feel like you're feeding her kids. Who knows? Whatever. But here we go. Check this out.
Controversial cluster munitions are banned by over 100 countries, but Russia and the United States are not among them. And now the U.S. will send stockpiled cluster munitions to Ukraine.
We base our security assistance decision on Ukraine's needs on the ground. We will not leave Ukraine defenseless at any point in this conflict, period.
Here's what makes cluster munitions so deadly. The initial shell can be dropped from a plane or fired from the ground. It then opens, releasing up to hundreds of smaller bombs. The Red Cross estimates up to 40% of those smaller bombs are duds, landing unexploded on the ground, where they can pose a lethal risk to innocent civilians for years.
The ones that we are considering providing would not include older variants with dud rates that are higher than 5%.
If you even go with the 3 to 5% dud rates that I've experienced personally, that's about 4 or 5 small grenades per round times 100,000. You're talking about close to 500,000, and that's a conservative estimate.
There is also a massive risk of civilian harm if Russian troops and tanks roll over Ukrainian positions and take more Ukrainian territory and subjugate more Ukrainian civilians because Ukraine does not have enough artillery. That is intolerable to us.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Are they expecting those cluster bombs? Are they expecting Ukraine to use those cluster bombs on Russian territory? Because if the fighting is in Ukraine and you give them these weapons, one would have to think that they would be using this on Ukrainian territory, basically on the people who are more loyal to Russia than Ukraine. Right, than people in the cities of Donetsk or Donbass. I don't know the names. I don't want to sit here and pretend like I do, but those are just some of the names I've heard with citizens who are loyal to Moscow. So it's just very weird. Where are they going to use this at? And they're inevitably going to kill tons of civilians if they decide to use this shit. But then again, we're talking about total and complete psychopaths, and they don't give a fuck about these people. So, yeah. They'll go ahead and use the cluster bombs, even if it kills nothing but kids.
That's exactly.
Oh shit, we lost him again. Damn, I hate being like the single screen like that when that shit blow up. It's like, you know what I mean? No bueno. Anyway, but back to the topic at hand. You know, it's just a money laundering operation going on in Ukraine. All of us should change our ethnicity, nationality, whatever it is, to Ukrainian, and hope that we can get some funds out of this shit. You know what I mean? Because they giving it up to them.
Yeah, I noticed when I came back in, it said that this could be on our end. Please let us know. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this probably is on you guys' end because I don't have these problems with anything else in my house, which is dependent on the internet. But somehow when I get on to, I don't know, never mind. Let me just get to it before it starts acting up on me again.
Stop, Lucky.
This reminds me of when I first got. You sure you didn't have a live interview afterwards? Off the books, off the record.
Nah, man.
I know. It's all right.
That's right, John. Take your shots, John.
Y'all are adults.
That's a fact.
But I started off my military career, you know, dealing with a situation similar to this. In Kosovo and Bosnia, you know what a lot of the U.S. troops were there in the early 2000s to do?
Ethnically cleanse.
No. I mean, they are the ethnic Albanians and Kosovo, all these other people, they already did that. Oh, we were there supposedly clearing mines. So, clearing mines, you know why? Because the bombing runs which we did to help out supposedly liberate Bosnia and Kosovo, we left a bunch of mines and things like that all over the place. And it was killing civilians and blowing little kids' arms and legs off and things like that. And so they're setting up the same exact situation. And so when all that stuff, when you have all these cluster bombs undetonated, which are sitting there, guess who's going to have to come in after the war to clear them up? The U.S. So that gives a validation for the U.S. to have troops in Ukraine. I'm just seeing some things that people are doing. It's looking a little sketchy out here. That's all I'll say. It's looking very sketchy.
Yeah. As Thomas said, as Thomas just recently learned that he is a distant relative of Zelensky, and now he's asking for his funds. You know, I told Thomas, you know, we have that in common. I too just recently found out that I'm a relative of Zelensky, and I need my money too. So you know, y'all got $100 billion plus. Look, I'm saying you got $100 billion plus to throw around at this effort, dog. You could throw me like 90 stacks. You could throw me like 90,000. I'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? I'll make that work.
Oh, let's see.
I just need
since I'm having problems sending this, and I don't know if Baba is still in here. Let me see if I can send it to you and see if you can play this video. Baba asked me to play this video. Oh crap! That's right. Let me go back to my DMs. Where is it?
Where are you sending it?
Where do you want me to send it? DM?
Okay.
All right, copy link. So yeah, she sent this to me. She wanted me to share this with the class. Share this with everybody. So let's see, just gotta pull you up real quick. What the heck is going on? Maybe it is a problem going inside. Maybe a problem is here at home because it gave me a little internet issue for half a second. Ooh, Lord. Oh, sorry, distracted. Chris, you sending me stuff, get my blood pressure up. All right, I just sent it.
Yeah, I just saw it come in. All right.
Okay. Oh yeah, no matter who's over there, BlackRock is there. No matter who's there, BlackRock is already there.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact. All right, there we go.
Are they popping fireworks up? Yep, they're popping fireworks right now.
I only heard some today.
No, they're gonna be popping fireworks and I guess I'm not live. Are we not live on Rockfin?
I could check. I don't know, everything seemed to be like moving really slow right now.
But we are still up. Yeah, there must be something going on with my internet in particular. Let's see. 5. Yeah, it's
Right,
still
so I
showing
got the
we're
video
live.
pulled up. Hold on.
Okay, cool. Hey, Pacheco Roan is in. He says, great stream, Marcus and Chris. Yeah, besides all these technical difficulties.
Yeah, if you say that one more time, I'm John gonna crack more jokes.
I know. John is killing me over here. But I don't know if people remember. I was looking at some of our old videos. Chris used to be the one doing all the tech stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm about to play it now.
Okay.
¿Estás bien? ¿Qué pasó?
Oye, ¿qué haces?
Ey. Por favor, baja el arma. Ok, llévate lo que quieras, mira. Aquí está. Pero por favor.
It look kind of interesting, Marcus.
It definitely looked interesting. The one thing that I noticed pretty quickly, and I'm pretty sure any Spanish speakers out there might have caught this also. They showed a Mexican flag, because if that's supposed to be Mexico. Did you not hear those heavy Spaniard accents?
Oh yeah.
Did you catch that, Chris? I'm like, those are definitely
sure
Spaniards.
did.
They are not Mexicans.
I sure did.
And even phenotypically, I'm looking at them. I'm like, these are Spaniards. This is pretty clear. In fact, one of the ladies that they showed, the lady who went in the restroom with the sink, she is a very, very prominent Spaniard.
Is she?
I don't know. Yeah, big time Spaniard actress.
Okay.
So,
Well, Marcus, you got anything left? Because we had like the 2.5 hour mark. It's almost one.
I was no sir, ready to close it out. While we can close it out perfectly fine. I mean, we don't need to battle through no more tech issues. And then all you also need to run over and catch some of these other streams. I'm pretty sure maybe a fight or something going on, and I think Warren is live, so definitely go check him out.
Yeah, I think so.
And also make sure y'all go and check out Chris's interview on Lucky's show.
Okay, yeah, we have fun
stuff.
That's dope.
Oh, that's what I had. I don't know if I can show it though. Here, I'm gonna sing you one more.
Yeah.
I want everybody to see our the new TikTok I created. It's 1 minute. Y'all can bear 1 more minute. Let's see, back out of that. Okay, just wanted to show y'all this. Damn it. Oh, that's right. I already sent it to you. Right. That's right. I already sent it to you. Yeah, I wanted you to share that one I sent.
I only got that one link. Oh, the one that you sent at wait, no. When did you send it? When did you send it?
Let's see. Let me check. I sent to you on your phone. It was 9:24 this morning. Actually, let me just pull it up, and I will ship it. I will send it to your. Copy.
Yeah, send it to Twitter because I'm already in the box now.
Okay. I just put it there. It should be in there now. I'm trying to get Moriel to come over and check out my TikToks. But this one, I'll find the time. I will be putting this up on our YouTube channel also. Trying to do more in the shorts game. A little something for a little entertainment for y'all.
Just play the damn video.
Oh, I just thought about something. Stop it. Don't want to catch the copyright.
Oh.
I just thought about that. The copyright for the music. It could play on TikTok. Yeah. But and you know the crazy part about it, when I upload, but watch, when I uploaded the short, it's probably gonna allow me to use the same music. But if I play the music just separately, it'll hit me for a copyright, guaranteed. I know it's super dumb because now YouTube is letting you use all this different music that it didn't allow you to do before. I don't know. I won't never understand any of this shit, but That's all I got. Apologies for all the technical difficulties we had tonight. Oh yeah, for those who don't remember, Chris probably don't remember this. A lot of times he used to be on that side and I was on this side.
Mm-hmm. But then we switched it up. Pause.
Yeah. Click pause like 4 times on that one.
I know, right? For real, man. All right, well, guys, as usual, we thank y'all for coming out, hanging out with us. We did 2.5 strong. We did 2.5 tonight. Again, we are really appreciative for you guys coming in, commenting, whether it's on YouTube or the Rockfin. Thank you, guys. I really don't have anything to sign off with. As usual, just take care of yourself, take care of your family. You know what I'm saying? Don't get yourself too worked up over this shit that we see on the news. It's designed to mess with your emotions and your energy. Don't let it. And that's all I have. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their weekend and the rest of their week. And we'll talk to you on Saturday. Marcus, I'll let you finish it up.
All right. I'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.
All right, guys.